What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. Alright, so we're going to start this one off by putting to rest the bicep tear conversation that's been surrounding Chris Bumstead. Now, if you missed my last video on this, I'll put the link right here for you guys, but Chris posted another video on his YouTube that was filmed on October 8th, only 5 days after the back and biceps training video, and only 3 weeks out from the Olympia. And when you look at the right arm, the arm with the tattoo, which was the arm in question that had that redness near the bicep insertion into the elbow, I mean, you guys, you don't see anything. There's no discoloration, there's no swelling, his arm looks perfectly fine in that area. So, short of Chris covering that area up with like makeup or something like that, which honestly, I'm not even going to consider, I think this pretty much puts this one to bed. At least so far, it seems that Chris is going to be showing up in his best of physical health and I think at his biggest. The weight cap increase has really served these athletes well, and Chris is no different. So Classic, I think this year is going to be even more impressive and more exciting to watch, especially as I expect to see the best version of Chris Bumstead that we've ever seen. So look, I hope this ends the bicep tear conversation on that right arm, but if there's anyone out there who does think Chris still has a torn bicep, if you think I missed something here, you guys let me know in the comments below. Alright, so next up, we have an update here on Charles Griffen, who we know has a pretty substantial pec tear that was very evident at the Legion Sports Fest. But Charles put up a post here directly addressing the pec tear and hitting the front lat spread without having a noticeable difference in the torn pec area. I mentioned it in my last update on Charles, and maybe some of you guys skimmed over it, but Charles did say in an interview with MD that his intent was to learn to pose around it and really make it less noticeable. And from what we can see here, it seems to be going fairly well. Charles does look overall symmetrical in the way he hits this shot. The front lat spread was definitely where his chest looked its worst when it came to the pec tear. But when we compare the two, I mean, look, it looks a lot better the way that he's doing it here. Now, by not flexing the chest as hard potentially, that could mean we won't see as many striations in the chest come show day. But is this an overall improvement? I think it is. Hopefully this translates over to the stage, but this is just another of many examples of the relentlessness of Charles Griffen that I keep talking about. He's an absolute warrior, completely uncompromising in his pursuit to bring his best, and Charles is fast becoming one of my favorite bodybuilders on the scene right now. Alright, so next up, Nathan DeAsha posted a full round of mandatory poses at about 3 weeks out of the Olympia, and the conversation around Nathan has really been whether or not he's even going to show up to the Olympia this year. And most people know by now, but the answer is yes. Nathan does have full intention of being on that Olympia stage. Nathan is looking pretty much on point here. He's been known to be a bit, I guess you would say, unconventional in terms of dieting and lifestyle choices during prep as compared to your typical bodybuilder. Like in this update, he said he ate a bunch of Indian food the night before this as a refeed, and he actually woke up about 1.6 pounds lighter. But this is nothing new from Nathan. In this update, he is looking pretty sharp, he's looking wide from the back, the quad detail is still there, and there's really no reason to expect him to show up out of shape. He's been in shape in all 3 of the pro shows that he's done this year. 2 of them, he took home the win. So Nathan is a threat to that top 10. Pretty much everyone out there agrees that Nathan is going to land somewhere around that 10th place spot. I'm fairly confident of that myself, but I just can't help but think there's going to be some surprises at the Olympia this year. I feel like Regan is really going to be gunning for Nathan at this show. Low-key gunning for him for sure. And that's a rematch that I'm really looking forward to. So you guys let me know if you have Nathan in your top 10, and let me know, who do you think is going to win the rematch between Regan and Nathan? Alright, so next up, we have an update here from Michal Krizo at 3 weeks out, and Krizo has made some changes in his prep leading up to this Olympia. He's been doing more cardio, where in the past he's done 0 cardio, including during his prep for the 2022 Olympia. He's been putting in more time doing posing practice, the concentration has been on back training, all of the things that Krizo needed to improve on, he's made a priority. I'm not sure about the glutes training. I think he did concentrate on a bit more glutes, but anyway, to me and to Krizo, this isn't a glute competition. Krizo is another guy that we need to start discussing as being a threat to really that top 6, because most people don't have him any lower than 8th place from what I've seen out there. Pretty much everyone has him in the top 10 this year. So the question is, who would Krizo have to defeat to at least make it in that top 10? Well, look, if you look at who else is a threat to that top 10, without considering Krizo beating anyone that we think will be in that top 6 at this point, look, let's just think about it. Does Krizo defeat guys like Nathan DeAsha, Regan Grimes, Hunter Labrada, Beirut Tabani if he makes it to the show? Does he defeat guys like Tony O'Burton? Does he defeat guys like Andrew Jack? You should go watch the Superset Man video, actually, between Krizo and Andrew Jack. That was a really, really great comparison. But these are the guys that I think Krizo is going to have to defeat. Krizo has gone on record saying he can beat Hunter Labrada pretty much no problem. And aside from Andrew Jack, I think that he does have a serious shot at beating all of those other guys. But you guys let me know in the comments below who you think Michal Krizo is going to have to defeat to make it into that top 10 or top 8, or what's going to push him to make it to that 6th place. Alright, so last up, we have an update here from Nick Walker at 3 weeks out, and it was around this time last year that we really started to see that insane detail come out in Nick's physique. That 3 or 4 week out mark is really when we get to see what version of Nick Walker we can expect on that Olympia stage. And as of right now, looking at this back double bicep, the X-frame looks absolutely crazy in this shot. His waist looks like it disappears from the back. The bicep peaks from the back are probably the best that you'll see on that Olympia stage. So overall, this does look to be Nick at his best to date. And it's very difficult for me to consider Nick any lower than 3rd place again this year. He won't be out shaping anyone, we all know that, but when it comes to muscle and condition and presentation, I think those are the things that will continue to push Nick into that top 3 this year, especially if his front lat spread is improved. I think when Nick hits that Olympia stage this year, I think he's going to come out with an absolute vengeance. I think he's going to make his presence very well known, and I think he's going to at least maintain his 3rd place spot on the Olympia stage. So you guys, that's a little bit of insight on who's going to be in my top 3 this year, and you guys let me know in the comments below if you have Nick in your top 3, and if not, who do you have taking that top 3 spot? Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.